Did you know that you can now create GitHub issues from Copilot Chat in github.com? Let's imagine we're part of the product team behind Copilot Airways, and we're assigning work to the engineering team. We've written a new product requirements document for user reviews on the travel guide. But the team stores these documents in Notion. Let's ask Copilot to create a GitHub issue with that information and a link to the Notion document, so they have traceability of the request. The Copilot coding agents can be assigned issues right from this view in Copilot Chat. Copilot acknowledges the assignment and gets to work by creating a pull request. But how will Copilot be able to access the product team's documentation in Notion? That is where the Model Context Protocol comes in. Aside from native tools like reading files, making code edits, running builds and tests, you can provide Copilot access to external tools using MCP, just like we are doing here with Notion. Here, you can see it used multiple tool calls to gather the information from Notion, which were then incorporated into its workflow. And if we navigate across to GitHub Actions, you can see that the MCP servers and associated tools are configured when Copilot is being set up. Once Copilot has completed its work, we can review the code in the pull request. However, this looks like a fairly sizable set of changes, so I could go back to the pull request and see how Copilot has summarized the changes it has made, allowing me to have the appropriate context going into a review. To learn more about the Copilot coding agent, check out gh.io/copilot/coding-agent.
This is truly the power of building alongside an AI tool that just works. I want to show you how to build a front-end project with GitHub Copilot, and what better way to do that than to build a React client. I can come in here and open up Copilot Chat and ask, tell me about the configuration setup in the React app. It will give me a detailed description of all the code that's already in our directory. I'm going to bring in Christopher to help us build faster.
Fortunately, GitHub Copilot Chat has an ability to allow us to edit multiple files at one time. Whenever you're working with Copilot, you can take a look at what it's done and provide additional suggestions. So you don't need to bundle everything up into one huge prompt.
Wow, we just built a fully functional MVP of the application in a short time with GitHub Copilot.
I want to push this repository to GitHub. So again, remember, in agent mode, before we had the MCP support, this isn't something the agent could go and do. It couldn't create a repository. We have this .vs code folder, and then we have this mcp.json file. This is where we configure the MCP servers that are available. So what tools the agent can go and use for this repository, for this project. So we can see that there's one server. Now there's different types. You can see we can do stdio, server sent events or SSE, and then of that stdio, we can run things like npm packages, pip packages, Docker images as well, or we can just run the local commands and then just passing in that argument then. So I can just hit start on that. And when I open up chat, we can click on this wrench icon for tools, and you can see we've got a number of different tools available here. If we're interacting with GitHub, we of course need to authenticate. So I need to generate a personal access token. Please do not store that in source code. Do not store that path in your code. So we can see that is used then as part of this environment variable for this MCP server. So I've generated a token that has certain permissions and that I'm comfortable giving it, and then it can go and do things based on that token. I could go and say something like, so being super clear there. We want it to be true, private, yeah, and auto init false. Looks good. And so when we look at this, we can start seeing all of the different things that it can go and do. So it can push multiple files to a GitHub repo in a single commit. I'm going to go and go to strategy app, add that, my terminal. And I could have used the agent to go and push up the files for me if I wanted as well. But now when we refresh, we should see, there we go. We've got our repository.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Open Source Friday, the show where we talk to maintainers about the apps that they're maintaining. I'm Kadesha, and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. And on today's stream, we are talking to the folks from Community Health Toolkit. And Community Health Toolkit is an open source project that is transforming the way that community health workers deliver care around the world. So I'm super excited to hear about this tech for good type project. And I have Anthony here to chat with us today. I believe Anthony is a community manager, but let me pop him on stage so he can tell us more. Hi, Anthony. Welcome to the show. Wait, I think I kept unmuting and then you kept unmuting. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, thanks for the welcome and looking forward to this discussion.
Of course. So thanks for hopping on. Super happy to chat with you about what CHT is doing. But before we get into it, kind of tell me about yourself. Who is Anthony? What do you do? And how did you get to say CHT?
All right, yeah, thanks. Just to let the viewers know, I'm joining in from Kenya, Nairobi. This is a very nice country with nice sceneries. So if you haven't visited Kenya, please plan to visit Kenya. So more background about myself. I trained as a clinical nurse. So I'm a healthcare provider by nature, and then worked in a healthcare facility for around 3 years. And I was more involved in providing healthcare services to patients. Specifically, I used to work in labor ward or maternity ward and supporting mothers to deliver. And then for the past 10 years, I've been supporting many projects in Africa and Asia. And my support has been to support them to deploy digital health tools. In my last 7 years, I've worked with open source tool, and the open source tool that I've been supporting is the Community Health Toolkit. So my specific role has been to build partnership and nurture partnership. And the aim of that is to build capacity for various ministries of health and technical organizations and local partners so that they could be able to gain the capacity to be able to support CHT implementations on their own and be able to contribute back to the CHT. So it has been a very exciting journey. Through my efforts and collaborative efforts of my colleagues at Medic and also the community, we have been able to train over 35 organizations, different organizations globally. And these organizations can now be able to deploy CHT on their own. And currently, 25 of these organizations are actively supporting specific projects. And most of them now are contributing in building features and improvements that are supporting to enhance CHT.
Wow, that's incredible. And you said that you're a trained like healthcare worker. I was also in healthcare. That's how I started my career. I am a trained social worker, and then I kind of switched over to the tech side. So I love the story about this project. But let's zoom in a little bit closer to the Community Health Toolkit. Like, what is it, and what kind of do you know what sparked the creation of Community Health Toolkit?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so just to kick off that conversation, I will take us back 15 years ago, and that's where the concept of the Community Health Toolkit started then. So in 2010, our founder visited Malawi, and he was working there as a volunteer. At that time, he observed that patients had difficulty in accessing healthcare services. And the reason for that is patients had to walk for 100 miles for them just to access healthcare facilities. And within the communities that these patients belong to, we had community care workers who were providing services to these patients. So the community care workers are community members who have been selected within the community. These are trusted people who have been selected and have been trained so that they can be able to provide healthcare services. So they work from household to household to be able to provide healthcare services. So at that time, the community healthcare workers who used to work in Malawi used to use paper forms. So they would document the services they deliver in paper forms, and they were expected to deliver the paper forms to their facilities each week. And for them to deliver these paper forms, they had to travel for like 50 miles, carrying the papers to deliver them. And then for some of them, they were recording on papers. They used to have large books. So some of the records could get lost and they could not provide patient-centered care. So in those areas, especially in Malawi, by 2010, we already had good phone reception. So our founders started to think with other partners and also actors in Malawi at that time on how they could be able to harness technology to be able just to ensure that they bring efficiency in the healthcare system. And by then they were able now to come up with a simple SMS workflow just to remind healthcare providers in case they need to follow up any patients or to support them to coordinate care. So that's how we started. We have continued to evolve and optimize the tool. And in 2016, we were able to build our first mobile Android app. And then in 2018, we were able now to open source the Community Health Toolkit. So in a nutshell, the Community Health Toolkit is an open source digital public good that has been designed and developed to support healthcare providers to deliver timely and quality healthcare services to the population they serve. And probably building on that challenge that I shared about Malawi, in globally or in most of the context of the countries that we stay in, you will find that most of patients or community members are unable to access healthcare services. And the reason for that is probably healthcare facilities are inaccessible or probably they are undersourced. And within most of the settings or the countries that we are in, we already have community healthcare workers who are professionals that have been trained and they have the capacity to deliver these healthcare services. But what they are lacking is they are unsupported and they don't have the tools to deliver these healthcare services. So that's where the CHT comes in as a tool so that we can be able to empower them just to be able to deliver quality healthcare services. So CHT as a tool, it's quite flexible. It can be able to support very many diseases. Think of malaria, antenatal care, postnatal. And then it's an offline first tool. And that makes it quite easy and fit for many settings, especially for areas that do not have great internet connection because users can just work offline and they only need to put on their data when they want to sync. It's also flexible. It can be able to support so many program areas. It supports multiple languages and it's able to integrate with so many systems existing in the digital health ecosystem. So this makes it quite possible for the community healthcare workers to refer patients to the facility and still continue getting updates on how the patient is doing, and the patient is able to be referred back to the community for continued care by community healthcare workers. So in a nutshell, when I talk about CHT, it's the software, and we have also created good resources. So by this, I mean implementer design and technical resources that can be able to guide partners on how they can be able to deploy tools, to deploy CHT-based tools. And we also have a lot of reference applications that we have been able to build. So these are like example applications that any partner can be able to adopt and be able to deploy them within a short time. And this worked quite well. When COVID came, partners could be able just to take an app and customize it. Within a week, they're able to deploy that. And also as part of the CHT, we have a vibrant open source community, which supports CHT as an open source tool, and this community consists of users, partners, ministries of health, and other stakeholders working in the digital health ecosystem.
Sure. That's an incredible story and an incredible journey. I'm curious what made the team decide to open source CHT from the beginning? Do you know anything about the reasoning behind that?
Yes, at that time I was working at Medic, so the reason for that was there was a high demand for CHT to be deployed in many countries, and then Medic as a team, we are a lean team. We could not be able to support many implementations. So the reason why we open source is we wanted to make it easy for partners and ministries of health to be able to adopt CHT because they could not need to pay for licensing fees.
Right.
And that has made it easy for many countries to adopt CHT. For example, currently we have 21 countries that are actively using CHT, both in Asia and Africa. And we have also had deployments in Latin America, like in Guatemala and also some of the countries. And I know you informed me that you come from Jamaica. We have a project that's coming up in Jamaica. Yeah, so the demand was high and we wanted more countries to be able to adopt CHT. And also we wanted to build and nurture the community so that it's easier to sustain and make it easier for many countries to locally own and sustain most of the deployments.
That makes sense. And I think that's like one of the things we love about the open source community is like when the community comes together, like so much can get done really quickly. And I love the impact that's happening here. But let's take a look at the apps. I'm gonna pull up the screen share that you have so we can see the toolkit and how it works.
All right. Just confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right. So as I had mentioned, the tool, the CHT as an open source toolkit works on a number of devices. It can work on a simple basic phone where you can be able to do the SMS workflows. It can work on an Android phone. It can also work on a laptop. So what I'm sharing currently is a web app. So I'll log into the app. So you just need to enter the credentials and you are able to access the app. So this is the web app, but I can just show you how it can be able to appear on a mobile app. Just a minute.
While you're figuring that out, so since it's cross-platform across like web and mobile, is it using like how is it built? Is it in the JavaScript ecosystem? Is it like React Native or do you know how it was built?
Yeah, it's JavaScript is one of the language that is used to build the app. So it's more responsive based on the space that's available. Yeah.
I'm just gonna check out, and you all can check out the repo here at medic/CHT-core, and you can dig into the package JSON to see how the app was actually built. But yeah, let's see what's going on.
All right. So as I had mentioned earlier, this is an offline first tool. So you only need data connection to access the app. So once you have been able to access the app, you can be able to work offline and you only need data connection once you want to sync data. So because I'm on the web app, I will still be working online, but we'll be able to share a few links that you could go and test it on your Android phone. So I will go straight to core features of the CHT. So we have what we call tabs. We have the messages tab, tasks, reports, people, and targets. And then we have the menu. So I will start with the people's tab. So just to share more context about the work the community care workers usually do. So they are assigned household. Some of them have 50 to 100 households, and they provide care to this household. So the role of the community healthcare worker is to register household and provide services. So using the people tab, you can be able to register household and household members. So I can just open one of the household that has been registered. And in this scenario, you'll find that this household has like 6 members, and the head of the household is Adriana, and it has 6 members. So you can also add any additional household member to the household. So as a CHP, you register household and household members, and then you can be able to provide services and be able to follow up those patients. And then within CHT, you can open the profile of each patient so that you can be able to look at their profiles. For example, if I open the profile of this patient, I can be able to see their age and all the details. And we also have what you call condition card, and these helps the community healthcare worker to know very critical information that can support the community healthcare worker provide patient-centered care to that patient. So you can, at a glance, just see the critical information that you can be able to, that relates to this specific patient or client. And within CHT, while working offline, you can be able also just to search for a particular patient, and you'll be able to access that patient. So going back to the people, on CHT, we usually configure the protocols and guidelines, and these are like the recommended Ministry of Health or partner protocols or guidelines, so that whenever a CHW is using the tool, they are able to get decision support on some of the care they're supposed to provide to the clients or patients, or they're able to get decision support on how they're supposed to do, on the specific activity they're supposed to do. So I can just search for one client for us just to fill one form. So let me try to access, let's say, a pregnancy registration or a delivery form. So I can just open, let's say, a delivery form, then start to fill the form. So the form usually has some validation just to help you as you fill the form. So you use these to move to the next page. So we usually record the last menstrual period, so you can just indicate, we can just guess that. And then you are able to get the gestational age, and then you can move to the next page. There is a question of how many NC visits these patient has attended. I can just say 1. Then you can move to the next page, then the date. So you can be able to indicate the date, and it has a lot of validation so that in case I enter any wrong information, I'm able to get a notification. So I'll move quite fast because this is just a normal form. If the woman is expecting an NC visit, I can just say, I don't know. And then as WHO recommends, a woman is supposed to go for 8 antenatal visits. And if a woman is 9 weeks pregnant, you're supposed to refer this woman to a facility so that they could be able to start their NC clinic. So these are like some of the clinical decision support care guide that is able to support CHW. Then we can move to, is this the first pregnancy? I can just say yes. And then any risk factor. So let me just pick rough risk factor for this patient. Are there any additional risk factor? I can just say no. Then any danger sign, let me just pick a few. I can say this patient has severe abdominal pain and severe headache, and she's pale. I can say she doesn't have fever, no reduced movement. She's not getting tired. She's not swelling, no breathlessness. And as mentioned, as a community care worker, you are able to get a notification just to tell you, because you have marked that this patient has some danger signs, you are supposed to refer them to the facility. So as a community care worker, you'll be able to refer them to the facility and be able to follow them after 3 days. But let's just continue and finish this form. So does the woman use any long-lasting treated mosquito nets? I can just say yes. And then is the woman taking any iron folate just to help with the brain development? I can just say yes. And then
So this is
we
a
also,
very detailed form. I mean, it really goes through a lot of what they would have to do on paper. So it's really good that they can do this just like on a site and also like offline if they don't have internet access.
yes, yeah, and we also incorporate some health tips so that this community
I
healthcare
noticed
worker
that.
can be able, yeah, to advise pregnant women as they're attending to them. For example, here they have to eat a balanced diet. And then I'll move quite
Yeah.
fast. Have they taken any HIV test in the past 3 months? You can just say no or yes. Then have they received any tetanus vaccine? I can just say yes. And then
So
I will,
okay. Then we
sorry, I
get a
can
topic.
go back. I can go
No, no,
back.
no, no, no. You don't need to go back. Keep going. Go. Yeah, go to the next screen.
All right, so then you come to the summary page, and the summary page gives you a summary of the information you have filled, and it's able to advise you on what you're supposed to take. So, for example, these are the details, the summary. This woman is expected to, let's say, deliver this particular time. These are the risk factors, danger signs, and you have referrals. So you refer to the clinic because they have a danger sign and they haven't taken an HIV test. So the advantage is you can be able to follow this woman longitudinally throughout the journey in pregnancy
Right.
or probably after delivery so that you can be able to track the progress they make. So,
Yeah.
and there'll be follow-up tasks that are able to pop up once you submit. So once I submit, I can be able to follow up these women at an appropriate time. So very fast, I can move to the tasks. So the tasks are prompts or triggers that remind CHW that they need to ask or they need to follow up these specific household member. So for example, I filled a form for Houston and I've indicated that they have a danger sign. So they need to visit, I've referred them to the facility. So as a CHW, after 3 days, I need to follow them up just to confirm if they went to the facility or not. And if they're improving or if they're not improving, so that I can be able to provide further care in case they're not improving. So we usually have a task list just to guide CHW on how they can be able to plan their work and the specific patients they're able to follow up. So once you complete a task from the task list, it disappears from the task list. And the task usually has the name of the patient and also the household they belong to and the due date. So these tasks are overdue, but this one I have 2 days left before I complete them, and this one has 3 days left before I complete them. So
Great.
once you complete a task, it disappears from the task list. Yes.
Great. I saw someone in the comments says peculiar hi. So he says his team worked on creating an MVP for a problem stating related to this during Port Harcourt Config 2025 here in Nigeria. So I mean, now you can use this open source project peculiar if if you were really trying to get something up and going, since it's already done and it's free and clear for you to use. So I'm curious if you have any examples of so you mentioned that CHT is currently being used in 21 countries, about 21 countries. So do you have any stories that really captures the kind of impact this software is having on the community?
Yes. So in most of the countries and contexts that we work in, these HWs help to refer pregnant mothers to the facility so that they can be able to deliver in facilities. So despite the fact that you are working in hard to reach areas, you might find that almost 98% of the women that are registered in the CHT or are supported by CHWs who are using CHT, they are able to deliver in the healthcare facility. And another impact that I can be able to talk of, last year in 2024, the community care providers were able to provide over 700,000 immunization services to the different communities they support. This means that these healthcare workers were able to provide these services, and since these children were able to get the vaccines, some of the
Mhm.
diseases have been prevented. So our impact has been really on large scale. For example,
Yeah.
by the end of last year, these community healthcare workers had cumulatively supported over 170 million services to different communities.
Wow.
So that means that they're supporting mothers to deliver in the healthcare facilities. They're supporting children to ensure that they get immunization, and they're referred to facilities so that they can be able to get immunizations on time.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really, really incredible. So like how I'm curious about the like security of the data. So like this is really personal and like private healthcare data that's being uploaded to this project. How does the CHT toolkit handle data security, if you know?
Yeah, so in most of, and that's a great question. So in most of the projects that we support, we
Mm-hmm.
usually train a lot of our users on data use and security. And for most of the phones they use, they're able to lock the phones so that not all the people can be able to access the app. So for them, for the CHW, they have access to be like they can be able to enter their specific password for them just to be able to access the app as required. And then for some of the projects that they have been using mobile device management system just to make sure that they align with the required data security measures. And for some of the projects, in case you lose a phone, we can be able to wipe remotely the data so that it doesn't end up ending in the wrong hands.
Got you. Got you. Okay, cool. It's nice that you provide that sort of education to the users. That's pretty good. So like when it comes to the community, so I know that there's a open source community. How is the open source community managed for the project?
All right, yeah, and that's the most exciting topic. I being like the community manager.
Mm-hmm.
So the advantage of, and I think I mentioned this, the advantage of open sourcing CHT has helped to nurture the community and partners, and that has made it possible for the community to gain the technical skills to be able now to be able to contribute to the CHT. So how the community is managed, within the community, we collaborate a lot to build improvements and features. And within these, we form like community squads. This is a combination of different partners and also different stakeholders who participate in building different features and improvements. And within those squads, they're able to build different improvements and features. And currently, Medic is a technical steward of the CHT. So with Medic being a technical steward, that means that it coordinates the process of also releasing some new versions and also capacity building the community so that the community can be able to get the required knowledge and skills to be able to support some of the implementations of their own. And also Medic supports in building some of the resources for the community to use, and also facilitating some of the engagements that you have within the community. But this
Nice.
has been a journey, so it's something we're also building the community so that other partners can also be able to take a lead in facilitating some of these functions that Medic is supporting.
Nice. And for those watching that want to get involved on the more technical side, how can they get involved? The best way is to like just go to the repo and assign themselves an issue. What does that process look like?
Yes, so we have various ways of them supporting and being part of these awesome movements. So the first one is we have very regular engagement calls with the community, within the community. And these are calls that we discuss challenges and also get to understand priorities from the community. So they can join part of these calls. I'll be able to share a link for them just to sign up for some of these calls. And then we are also interested to have more contributors join in our community. So we have our repo. I'll just look for that link and be able to share it here. So they could look for issues they might be interested in and be able to contribute in building some of the features or probably in fixing some of the bugs that have been identified by the community. And they don't only need to participate in building the CHT core, they can also support in improving and refining our documentation site.
Yes.
By that, they can just raise an issue in case they notice any gaps in our documentation. And various ways of also participating. They could also participate in translating CHT to many languages because CHT supports multiple languages. They could also participate in also testing some of the features that we are going to release or they are currently part of the CHT core so that they could be able to share feedback. So we are looking forward to having them join us so that we could be able to hear their feedback and also benefit from their contributions.
Nice. So it looks like there are many ways to contribute to the CHT, and a primary contribution that you can do is to contribute to the docs. I love that you said that because so often in our technical community, you know, the non-coding aspect of open source doesn't get a lot of highlight. So I love that you highlighted that, you know, one key way you can contribute is by contributing to the docs. I also noticed that the CHT website has an academy. Can you tell us more? Can you tell us more about the academy, the CHT Academy?
Yes, and thanks for mentioning that. So and I think I mentioned this in our approach of capacity building, the community and partners and ministries of health. So when we started initially, we were doing workshops, we would call people in a room and do a workshop, but that was not sustainable. So we came up with a way just to sustain and be able to reach very many developers and also technical implementers. So we launched the CHT Academy in 2022. And the reason why we launched the CHT Academy is to provide a way just to reach so many technical implementers so that they could be able to self-onboard themselves. And also, the Academy also came with many advantages in that you could be able to track the progress that each learner has made. And also, you could be able to do the certification. So we currently have a number of courses. We have like 4 courses, like an introduction to CHT, and then we have a course on building the CHT applications. We have a course on interoperability, and we have a course on infrastructure. So we have like all the 4 courses just to cover the different aspects of deploying the CHT. So people can also take advantage of that academy. And also we are open to hearing the community contribute on how we could be able to refine our academy videos and also resources, and also how we could be able to improve some of the resources that currently exist in the academy.
Yeah, nice. I love that. Yeah, I saw that there is a introduction to building CHT applications, and you need to know JSON, JavaScript, CouchDB, or be familiar with CouchDB, which is a NoSQL DB, and SQL. So it doesn't seem too crazy. So if you want to get into CHT, you don't know much about it, you can go to the repo and also go to their academy to take their introductory course to learn more about the project. This has been really great. I saw someone left a comment saying that they joined CHT community as an open source person, maintainer, and it's been so supportive, and they've been able to learn a lot as well. So definitely great things going on the CHT side. So like looking forward with the Community Health Toolkit, is there anything in particular that's coming up that you're excited about?
Yes. So what we're excited about is and this is something that uh, we are proud of, is now the community is taking an active approach in determining how CHT evolves. So just to give a few examples, our latest release is version 4.20, and our previous release was version 4.19. So in our version 4.19, we had over 70% of the contribution coming from the community, like the features and improvements came from the community. And then with version 4.20, we had like 50% of the features being built by the community. That means that the community is maturing and taking steps in making sure that they take a proactive role in building the feature. So talking about the feature, we are looking at having the community take the ownership and taking a lead in building this feature. They've been doing it quite well, but now we are looking at moving it a scale higher to a newer height. And then we are also looking at optimizing CHT so that it's more user-friendly and it's able to support so many aspects of the community healthcare system, so many aspects of community health strategy. So a good example is we are also looking at how we could be able to upload some videos that can help to train users remotely, in that you can, as a CHW, you can just put your app on and be able to watch a video that can be able to train you, and this would help in training the CHW remotely, and it will be like at a cheaper cost rather than having CHW come to one place for them to be trained in person. So, and so many other enhancements we are looking at to build on CHT so that we can make CHT more robust and more user-friendly.
Nice. That's pretty great. So thank you so much for coming on, Anthony. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And if you want to get involved in CHT, make sure to check out the repository. I'm going to pop the link up one more time so you can go to the repo, check out the project, get involved, start contributing to it. It's doing really, really good work in communities around the world to help healthcare workers access remote areas and give people the healthcare that they need. Really, really good convo. Any last words you want to share before I wrap it up?
Yeah, it has been a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity to share these with the GitHub team and also the open source community. Looking forward to having more contributors join us. So we are also interested in working closely with other communities and partners supporting different open source tools. So looking forward to having more contributors, and feel free to visit our repos and share your feedback.
Nice. Thank you so much, Anthony. And thank you for joining. And that's it. That's all we have for this week. Until next week, this has been Open Source Friday. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.